There are 12 known varieties of vetiver. The most important is Chrysopogon Zizanioides. Other well-known species include Chrysopogon nigritanus, found in Africa, Chrysopogon lawsoni, found in the northern parts of the Indian subcontinent, and Chrysopogon nemoralis, found in Thailand. Chrysopogon zizanioides is, however, the most widely grown, and its characteristics are best suited for soil and water conservation. Vetiver grass is generally an erect clump-like grass with leaves and stems growing to 2 metres and roots extending to depths of 5 metres or more. The grass is not invasive and can be removed by cutting below its crown. Some cultivars have flowers, which makes it a pretty ornamental grass. Those cultivars of Chrysopogon zizanioides often do not produce flowers at all, and when they do, the seeds are sterile. Vetiver grass grows over a very wide range of conditions, including soils from pH 3 to pH 11, shallow and deep soils, soils with high levels of magnesium and aluminium, and in climates with rainfalls from about 400 mm to 6,000 mm annually. It will not survive very cold and sustain sub-zero temperatures, although it will tolerate various levels of frost. Vetiver grass, when grown in a contour across a slope, creates a very dense hedge of 0.5 metre to 1 metre wide, which acts as a barrier against rainwater runoff. This barrier significantly reduces the runoff velocity and enables the sediment content of the runoff to be deposited behind the hedge. Depending on the slope of the land, substantial natural terraces can be formed behind the hedges, which further reduce runoff and through infiltration improve the recharge of groundwater. A vetiver hedge system spreads out rainfall runoff, retains sediment and needs minimum maintenance. Soil loss due to erosion varies widely depending on the type of landscape in both temperate and tropical parts of the globe. Empirical data show that the use of vetiver reduces soil loss to less than 2 tonnes a hectare a year across a very wide range of different landscapes, where unchecked soil erosion losses can easily exceed 500 to 800 tonnes a hectare a year.
Sediment, the soil is built up behind a vetiver hedgerow, and as in this case it's just under 1 metre, which is really quite remarkable for a biological system. There's no engineering taking place here, and it's just nature's way of using this extraordinary plant when it's grown as a hedgerow to build up and hold soil sediment and then runoff. Now the runoff, we get a lot of rainfall here, over 1,000 millimeters, and most of this runoff stays on the surface in the beginning, and then when it hits a hedge it builds floods back behind the hedge and then infiltrates down into the groundwater. It's very interesting. If you look here in the background behind at the Tahani, there you can see how actually this terrace has really become quite flat, and that's very important because that again reduces the amount of runoff.
Samples of such research in Thailand shows runoff plots with and without vetiver hedges. This scene clearly shows the sediment collected in a tank from an unprotected plot, whereas this scene shows minimum sediment collection from a plot protected by vetiver grass hedges. Vetiver grass hedges will back up rainfall runoff, as seen here in an experimental study by the US Department of Agriculture's Sedimentation Laboratory. For quick and effective hedge formation, vetiver hedges using vegetated planting material should be planted in rows at about 10 to 15 centimetres apart. These two scenes show the difference in planting distances on eventual hedge density. Vetiver has the characteristic of producing roots at the nodes. That means that as the sediment builds up behind the hedges, new roots are produced higher, and thus the plant grows with the rising terrace. In this scene, we have a close-up of a hedge cross-section, showing some 60 centimetres of silt deposited over the original topsoil dark band. In this scene, the hedge has stopped an enormous boulder that has fallen onto the road off the steep hillside and has prevented the boulder from moving further down the slope. Vetiver is extremely tolerant of fire. These scenes show the recovery of vetiver over a 4-week period following an intense fire. Vetiver grass, when planted in hedges along contour lines on the land, will stop erosion, cause run-off water to infiltrate into the groundwater system, and over time trap sediments, enriching the landscape for further use.